Welcome to the Imperfectly Us podcast.
The podcast where we discuss our journey to a healthy lifestyle, parenting, marriage, and everything in between. Throw in a dash of humor because, let's face it, life is imperfect.
But it's us!
Cheers! You may notice we're in the same clothes as the previous episode because...
Right after we ended.
Literally, like, within, 10 minutes?
I don't even think it was that. I was still cooking. I haven't even started cooking yet.
We got, so we've been working really, really hard on getting,
Bad luck.
We don't need any of that. We're finally turning our luck around. We've been working really, really hard. P.S. I'm drinking my Crook and Marker in my lovely wine glass that Mallory, my friend, made me. And Mallory got him this wine glass for Christmas. So thank you, Mallory, for our wine glasses. They're our favorites. We've been working really, really hard on getting our debt paid off. And we knew we were close to being down to like our last one or two payments after really busting butt to get everything paid off. And we did it. So I guess to give you... So we got a text from my mom because the last of the money that we owed was a loan because she had basically, in essence, bailed us out at one point. So,
couple times.
To kind of give you, and ironically, too, we just have to share that we started the previous episode with the dog deciding he was going to eat. We sit down to record this little mini episode, and what does the dog do?
Starts munching.
He goes over and starts eating again. So he just jumped up in the chair. He's apparently done with his little appetizer. But, to kind of give you some backstory, we had a series of bad luck and bad choices.
I was working for one of the big three.
Won't name which one.
I hurt my back right at the beginning of the rehiring cycle. So I got in when they started opening the second shift. And within 6 months, I injured my back, and I was out for several months. They could not find out what was wrong until we found a doctor who said that I broke 2 pars bones in my back.
Basically, when it initially happened, we didn't know the severity of what we were dealing with, and we were required, it happened as he was getting out of his car at the start of his shift, so the doctors told it was a wear and tear injury, but because it didn't happen like in the actual plant, we couldn't go for workman's comp.
They were not liable.
And actually, you were there longer than that. You had been there for 10 months when it happened, and you couldn't go for disability until you had been there for a year. Yeah. And so it was even a closer period. I remember it all very vividly because we got married in April, and we're paying off our wedding. Had to get creative in order to pay for our wedding ourselves, and so we had had taken out a 0% APR credit card, and your car was acting up, and we bought a new used car, which was also the brand of the company that you were working for. That way you could park closer, so we bought a new washer and dryer because we needed a washer and dryer. And we were starting to pay off our wedding. Things were good. And then that was April. And then in October, you hurt yourself. I remember getting that phone call. And you couldn't even make it into the building. But they sent you from doctor to doctor. Like, they required you to see their doctor.
Oh, I'll bleep that out.
Okay. So they required, you might want to write down what time that was at, like 3:43. They required you to see their doctors, and every time they would send them to a different doctor. And none of the doctors would communicate, and they wouldn't come up with the same, conclusion or whatever. And so after like a year of back and forth, they finally terminated your employment. And we were still dealing with, like, days you literally couldn't get out of bed. And we were newly married, talking about having a baby,
We had to have that conversation.
We were trying to have a baby. We had found out that I had some medical issues that made getting pregnant difficult. And so we actually had to have the conversation, which was heartbreaking, about... The doctor had told me, basically, the longer you wait, the less likely you are to get pregnant. And so we actually had to have the conversation partway through, and we had already gone through rounds of testing and like starting treatments and stuff like that about whether we should put all of that on hold because we didn't know our financial situation and we didn't recognize the severity of it at the time. And so we didn't really adjust our living, even though we literally, our pay got cut in half.
And I was making more than
you were bringing home more than I was, yeah, because I was contributing our insurance and stuff like that, but then you were actually bringing home more than I was. And so long story short, we finally got a doctor that gave us a diagnosis, but at that point we were like 2 years into the process, and you had been out of work,
like kings for a while.
And we didn't know what to do. And so rather than being smart and sitting down and making good choices, we
buried our heads in the sand.
We ostriched, as I like to call it. His move. And we still went out to eat and tried to use some of that stuff like to pretend like things were normal, even though they weren't. And we hit rock bottom, and then we bounced back a little bit, and then we hit rock bottom again. I remember, for me, the deepest rock bottom was a couple years ago. At this point, Izzy had been born, and thankfully, we were very lucky to have help. I remember your dad and your stepmom bringing over groceries for us. I remember my mom sending over. I had a really hard time breastfeeding, and so I did and pumped for the first 6 months, but I wasn't producing enough, so she got a mixture of breast milk and formula, and my mom would send over tubs of formula for us and diapers, and your mom gave us some Meijer gift cards, and we were very lucky to have as much help from our family as we did, but interest just started rolling, and I kept getting pay freezes, and we were accruing, we did spinal decompression, and that didn't work for you. And we were accruing all these other medical costs trying to get you to a spot where you could actually not even necessarily work, but live comfortably, because some days you were literally trapped in bed.
Well, I was trapped in bed because that little dick would get between my legs and I wouldn't be able to turn properly.
Yeah, so there were also some days that I had to pull you out of bed.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you weren't here and you
stayed in bed, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm in bed.
I couldn't move.
So things got pretty dark there for a while, but for me, the rock bottom hit a couple years ago. We had 4 credit cards, and they were all maxed out, including our Discover card, which was at a $15,000 limit. And I didn't know how I was going to be able to buy groceries for our family. And I remember getting on the Discover website, and they had magically extended our credit limit to $20,000 rather than $15,000. And so
they're going to get more interest out of you.
Rather than now having a credit card that was maxed out at $15,000, we had some more wiggle room, which isn't necessarily a good scenario for people that are in debt and making not good choices. But I called my mom at that point, sobbing, because like I said, I didn't know how I was going to be able to buy groceries and feed our family. And she kind of helped sit me down and kind of gave us a good talking to, and helped us with some budgeting and stuff like that. And we got all the credit cards paid off first. And she loaned us some money in order to get different credit cards paid down. But we were at the point where we were about $30,000 in debt when you consider the money we owed her and the balances on all the credit cards. And my mom likes to say, isn't it great when your money works for you rather than working for the credit? We were spending so much money just paying in, trying to pay the minimum balance, that we were just we were racking up more in interest than we were even putting on the cards a lot of the time. And so, things got really, really grim there for a while. But through a lot of hard work, there was one Christmas where we didn't celebrate Christmas, which was the worst feeling in the world. Telling our family that, we couldn't afford to do Christmas presents because we just didn't have the money to do it. which Christmas is like my jam. So that was really, really difficult for us. But we've been really, really lucky to have family that's supportive and has helped out. And like a lot of the time for Izzy's birthday and Christmas presents and stuff like that, she's gotten to do a lot of amazing things because of the support from our family, like soccer and gymnastics and swimming and, going to Disney and, doing these different things and these different trips because our family members helped us out. So she never really got to feel the pinch, but she didn't understand that there were times
7.
literally where, like...
She's 7. She doesn't know anyway, but...
Right, but, like, she would want McDonald's, and we would go to McDonald's, and we would get her Happy Meal, and she wouldn't understand why we weren't getting anything. And I'd like to say it was because we were trying to live a healthy living, but really it was because we just couldn't even afford anything off the dollar menu. After we finally wised up to really buckling down. But we got all of the credit cards paid off, and we officially made, and my student loan, and we officially made the last payment to my mom to pay off the debt that we had towards her. Like 10 minutes after we finished the last episode of the podcast. We
had some debate. Do we pay it all now? How much is going to be left? Could we make it another 2 weeks?
So we thought that we really, our goal really was to get it paid off in February. We wanted to start March with money from those paychecks being able to start getting saved. To the point we don't even have a savings account. Izzy has a savings account that has money in it, but we don't have a savings account because we've never had enough money to even have a savings account.
We will in 2 weeks.
So we'll be going and opening a new savings account linked to our checking account so that we can start moving money over. And he actually set up retirement last month too, and that was something that like we couldn't even consider or even think about putting extra money aside for retirement.
Money that we're not going to see.
Because we didn't have enough money to live our current life, let alone think about, down the road in the future. And so it's like I'm like so emotionally overwhelmed with how awesome. And it was, oh my God, it was so cute. So Izzy, we were like kind of, cheering when this happened. And Izzy comes running out and she's like, "What's going on?" And I said, we got the last payment paid off to Gigi. Like, we're officially out of debt. Well, what does this mean? And I said, well, we can start saving for a house because we currently rent from my mom a house that's, like the size of a shoebox. And she said, "Woohoo, a new house." And I said, well, honey, you understand it's going to take us, like, we're going to need to save for a while in order to be able to have the money for a house. And she goes, "That's okay, Mom. You can use some of my money too." So we can use some of her money too. But so if you have a really big goal ahead of you, don't despair. It is possible. I don't know anything. I feel like I just blabbered, but go ahead.
You took care of all of it. I buried my head in the sand because I didn't want to know how deep we were in. I knew we were in, but I didn't know to the extent.
Yeah.
Because
that would be his really obnoxious text message alert.
When it's Steve Austin.
It's glass breaking. It scared the shit out of me when we were at dinner yesterday.
So when you did bills, I went to go hide.
Yes. And all of the credit cards were in my name. So I was like, if you think you're going to divorce me, good luck.
I'm scot-free.
Good luck, because you ain't living through that. Yes,
it was appropriate for you to take the reign on this one because you got us out.
I appreciate that. I think back and I'm like, oh my God, like I worked as a consultant to do one of those where I sold products, and I worked a couple of other jobs, but we did it. We are officially debt free. And cheers. I'm really excited. So we had to share it with you because we know we've talked about like that and really working
and we didn't want to share the extent of it until just now.
But I do feel like this huge sense of relief and also a little bit of a worry in regards to like
When's the other shoe gonna
well,
drop?
I don't want us to revert back to making poor decisions. I want us to continue to move forward and get a house and a baby.
Oh, baby.
I don't know.
Another dog?
No, not another dog.
A bird?
No, definitely not.
What a bird.
It's not going to happen.
Monkey?
No, we already have a little monkey. She's been climbing. I've told her 12 times today that I'm not a jungle gym.
Mm-hmm.
I even had to tell her that yesterday about Grandma and Papa. So, when your mom and Larry were here, because she kept trying to jump and climb on them, and then she was jumping and climbing on your sister when Alex and Mike got here, and so we're all set on the monkey department, thanks. But anyway, we just super exciting news, and we wanted to share it with you guys because we know we've talked a little bit about it in past episodes, but we did it. We officially did it. So thanks for everybody that
Helped.
I mean,
stood by, supported.
Understood when we couldn't do things, and couldn't like go out and be a part of different things, and understood when we had to scale back on birthday and Christmas presents, and helped out with different things related to, I mean, God, even when you think about like so many people helped us get to this point. I mean, if you even think about like the times when Izzy was sick and she was out,
couldn't even take a day off.
She was out for, a week at a time, and we couldn't take a day off. And so, or we couldn't take any more days off. You took a day off, and then I took a day off, and then my stepdad took a day off, and then Mallory, I mean, there was times where Mallory covered us. And so we are so blessed to have.
Mallory risked hand, foot, mouth
a couple years ago
to help us out.
Yeah, to watch Izzy. So just shout out to our support system, and you are now part of that because you're helping to hold us accountable in our journey towards a healthy living and surviving this whole parenting thing and not murdering each other and like trying to have a happy and healthy marriage.
We got out of debt without murdering each other.
I know, right? That's the health and money are the two things that people are like two of the main things that people get divorced over, and we've handled quite a few different health issues, including a fractured back and back surgery. And oh my God, you were on the operating table for so long. I do not want to ever go back to that time. You were, and your operation ran like an hour and a half, 2 hours longer than it was supposed to.
I didn't even have life insurance.
No.
You would have been screwed.
No.
Actually, you'd probably been better off.
I guess we'll never know. No, I'm just kidding. So if you have a good support system, thank them. And thank you to our support system. And don't give up. Like, it is possible to achieve the goals that you set out to achieve. So this first goal down. Now we're going to start saving and focus on trying to get ourselves into our own house.
That's going to have some arguments.
Probably. We both have a little bit of a different vision. We've been starting to look just to see what we like.
We sort of like the same thing, but...
And yeah, for the most part. But anyway, we just wanted to share the happy news with you. So thank you for popping in. This is actually episode 20. We literally recorded episode 19.
So it's another reason to
celebrate. Hours ago. So
celebrate
happy
twice.
20 being debt-free in 2020. Yay!
Does that mean you can drink again at 21 because then it's legal?
I feel like there's like a bad dad joke in there that I'm just not.
Episode 21 we can drink?
We're drinking right now and it's episode 20.
It's an MIP.
Debt-free. Episode
Since
20.
20.
So, anyway, thanks for joining. I don't even know what he's saying anymore.
Debt-free since 20.
That's his first drink, and I don't know what he's saying anymore. So, I got to cut him off, and we're going to cut ourselves off at this point. So, bye. Thank you for joining us again.